Hey, we're back here for another edition of Night Talk with the Mighty Oba with my good friend and brother, one of the most talented people, good souls I have ever met. And I tell people all the time, I've covered the NFL for 28 years. I can count on maybe two hands people that I've gone anywhere with because of the nature of the business. And Michael Gaines is one we went to church together.
Yes, we did.
Yep, with the Elam Christian Fellowship
Yep.
Here in Buffalo when you were playing with the Buffalo Bills.
I sure did, baby.
And you know what? I think people have kind of forgotten because of the Bills' recent success.
Uh-huh.
But that team you were on was supposed to go to the playoffs.
Man, we were supposed to break the record. We were supposed to break the streak.
That was a good football team. Y'all were good. 1 or 2 games away, especially that ugly game in Cleveland.
Man, listen, if we wouldn't have lost to the Giants at home, because we was up on the Giants, and we needed one more person to lose, I think, and then we had that ugly game in Cleveland. That really knocked us out of it.
Yes, sir. Well, I want to start. Michael Gaines, drafted by the Carolina Panthers in 2004. All your life, you worked to that point. Tell me something. What was your thoughts when you were drafted by the Panthers in the 7th round?
Man, listen, my whole experience, just being in the league, man, just was nothing but God. You know what I'm saying? I had nothing to do with how he orchestrated it. You know, I can't say I went out there and ran and went to the combine. That's a miracle in itself. I went to the combine. I didn't run no crazy times. I didn't test crazy, but it was all, favor of God, man. So my experience in the league was nothing but appreciation, and while I was in there, I worked hard as I could, just to glorify who God is in my life, and also to have fun and meet great people and win some games. So that's my biggest experience.
I don't think people understand. They only look at the game. But do they really understand how much work you guys have to put in just to maintain being a pro football player?
I had a conversation with my nephew last night, or the night before last, and I told him, understand you don't understand what you have to give away to be very successful. Very successful people are very lonely people. Even though, you might see them out with a crew, you might see them out with their team or people but listen, to be successful, it's a very lonely life because you got to put the work in, and you got to also take care of your mental. You can't have, you got to make the right decisions. You can't have bad influences around you. And, so to be successful, to put the amount of work you got to put in, man, I used to do 2-a-days in workouts. And I used to work out early in the morning, dead in the middle of the heat in the afternoon, and then sometimes I'll probably put cardio in. So it's a lot of work you got to put into your body to be prepared and into your mental. And so to be successful, man, it's a very lonely life. So you just most people don't understand.
Hand-eye coordination is so critical for a tight end. You have to literally be able to catch a bullet.
Yeah. Yeah.
People, I'm watching some of these tight ends playing with tennis balls and doing all these you got to do all that just to stay in the league, don't you?
Just to stay, man, because your reaction time has to be so on point. Your reaction time has to be on point each time. So, yeah, them tennis balls, I used to work them tennis balls. I used to work medicine balls because it's also way you catch the ball with your fingertips and squeeze. And, it's a lot of things that goes into it. So, you gotta work everything that you got, everything.
You're also, I need for people to realize that this gentleman is an accomplished singer, producer, coach, most importantly, a man of God. He is one of the original members of the NFL Players Choir, which just made a spectacular performance on America's Got Talent. And I believe it was you, Tommy Harris, were original members, and the person that helped organize the choir, I believe, is one of the most beautiful people on the planet Earth.
Yeah, Melanie
There
Few.
gets none better than Melanie Few. She's
Melanie Few.
just a beautiful, beautiful person. Always want to acknowledge her
Yeah.
with the gospel Super Bowl gospel celebration. Tell me about your experience with America's Got Talent. What did you learn from that? Because, brother, you guys had to put some work in. Choreography, uh, what Simon Crowell asked y'all on the spot to go a cappella, y'all nailed it. You nailed it. What were you thinking when that went through your head?
Man, believe it or not, man, I think we was more surprised that Simon liked us. Cause listen, man, repetition. They say practice make perfect. No, um, practice makes you more consistent. So, in rehearsals and things like that, we practiced acapella majority of the time. We never because if you go back to the audition, he didn't like the track. And so, but we practice acapella all the time. So now when you get to the show, and the experience of the show, because listen, if that thing right there is a whole production, you practice for days, you try to get your choreography right and your vocals, and you got to do that at the same time. You got to be in shape, huh? And you
Yes, sir.
then you got, so guys that are retired, guys that are still playing, and it was tough for guys that were still playing because, singing and dancing, that's not an easy
No,
task.
no,
And
it's
so,
not.
and so, but the experience was awesome. Um, and like I said, we thought Simon was gonna like us. So, but when he asked us to do acapella, we were straight. Now, understand they had to cut some things out on the show. So the reaction that y'all see wasn't really our reaction. It wasn't no big pause or anything like that. We actually jumped right into it. And so, and that's why they were so amazed just with the acapella.
You guys nailed it. There's no doubt about it. And that experience for you also breeds another kind of camaraderie with guys that put it on in between the lines on the field during their careers. What was the experience for you in preparing for this kind of competition?
Uh, the, it was a lot different because now we bring in a lot of new guys that we never sung with before. Because now, when you get on stage like that, this is not like the NFL gospel. NFL gospel, you got a live band, stuff can crowd out your voices and things like that, right? Well, with this competition, now you got to know how to sing. You got to know your part. You got to know how to harmonize. You have to know how to sing. And so to get the guys that we put together and how and it came like the locker room because the you know being in NFL, everybody always understands you got to know how to do your job. If they
Right.
pick you to be an offensive lineman, be the best offensive lineman you can. Tight end, be the best tight end. Defense, do your job. So when it came to the rehearsal part and everybody getting their notes, everybody we're so used to, hey man, let me nail my stuff. Let me nail my stuff because I don't want to be the one that's lacking. I don't want to be the one that guys looking at. Oh, he ain't getting his part. And so we had to pay a close pay attention to details, how to do certain parts. And so it was a different experience, but it was an experience that we've actually, been prepared for all our life, because it's like playing football. You gotta go out there and perform. And so to get with those guys, to have that locker room experience, to get close to those guys, man, it was awesome.
You also, after the broadcast, Justin Timberlake gave y'all a big time shout
He
out
did.
on
He did.
social media. How did that feel?
Well, that felt good, because people been trying to clear. Now, what y'all don't understand, what people don't understand, each song that is sung on that show has to be cleared by the artist or the person that wrote it. It has to be licensed. So, um, what made that experience or Justin Timberlake responded like he did, um, it's been a plethora of people that's been trying to sing that song on the show. We were the only people that could ever get it approved,
Right.
because he always denied it. And so for us to perform it, and then for us to get his approval and for him to like it, that was great.
That's an awesome thing. I'm here with Michael Gaines, former NFL tight end, one of the finest men that I have met during my tenure of covering the NFL, Super Bowls, and everything else. And one of the great events that I try to cover, at least prior to the pandemic, was Super Bowl Gospel Celebration. How important has that been in your life? And also the founder of that great event, Miss Melanie Few, just one of the tremendous people I have ever met in my
Yeah.
lifetime. Just a beautiful person.
I think that experience is enormous, or it opens up the authentic side of who I am. I'm only to speak for me. I was raised in the church. God is Jesus is an important part of my life. Um, he has, there's a saying, God take care of babies and fools, and I can be proudly say I'm one of those fools and babies He has taken care of. I am a testimony of who He is. And so the NFL Gospel Celebration is definitely a important part um, of my life, because it built other opportunities for me to share my faith. And meeting Melanie Few in the process of friendship, uh, that I will always cherish. Is like no other. So the Super Bowl gospel thing is way bigger um, than than the show. It really solidified, my journey, just being in the NFL, just to tell God thank you on Super Bowl when everything else is going on, parties and all kind of crap, right? And so to make a choice to be a part of that, and just to give God praise on a Thursday or a Friday night, man, it's like no other. So I I definitely appreciate Melanie Few and the stage that she put together for us, called the Super Bowl Gospel.
It's always one of my stops Super Bowl week. Hopefully, when things get totally back to normal, I can resume my support of that great, great program. It's a tribute not only to Melanie Few and her vision, but also you players
Yeah,
that dedicate time and effort to come together to make that Super Bowl Gospel Celebration a great, great reality each and every year. Mike, let me ask you about how it's been for you since leaving the game. A lot of people don't understand. You spent your entire life being in the best physical condition, working hard. You made it to the pros. You're in front of people, don't realize not everybody gets to play in front of audiences on television with millions of people looking at you in front of 70 to 80,000 people. It's a totally different experience that only a few people get to experience in their lifetimes. And all of a sudden, that comes to an end. Your body begin the toll of playing such a physical game, the mental part of the game. How has it affected you since leaving the game? What has been your experience?
Well, let me just say this: the game has definitely been a blessing uh, to my family. Um, it's been um, it's just opened a lot of doors, um, not just for me, but also my family. Now, so I say all that to say I don't regret ever playing the game. Um, Now, after the game, is a whole nother experience because when you have been um, when you have been doing one thing for so long, from little league to high school to college to the league, and then one day it's gone. Um, the mental capacity that you have to have. We have never been taught or or we never had to practice that mentally. The game leaving us. We talk about it. Oh, one day I'm gonna retire, but the steps to go through the process of the game leaving is a whole nother journey. Um, when I retired in 2010, um, my first couple of years I was okay because I was thinking about coming back, and I was going back and forth with it. But when I decided, said, "No, I'm done," um, the aggression that I built up for so long, because we have to realize I play a violent game. So now the aggression that I'm used to taking out or used to um, giving to somebody else, I can't give it no more. So that comes in a form of anger, um, depression, um, confusion, because when you've been doing that for so long, oh, I'm mad. This ain't go my way. Let me go play football.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, having home ain't right. Let me go. Let me go play football. Let me go practice. Right. The outlet of aggression is not there, and so you build up all this stuff, man. You build up regret, or you build up, you know, uh, you build up bitterness, and that's the pot you live in until you figure it out. I was depressed for a good 10 years. I probably just got out of my depression about 3 years ago, um, and I still fight to stay away from it. I had to learn that having a counselor is okay. Because if I really tell you the testimony, I was on another borderline being an alcoholic. I was drinking heavily. Uh, why telling the Lord thank you? I was thought about leaving here because um, taking my life because um, I didn't see my value. Didn't see my value because now I'm in a place where I'm not familiar with. I know I'm talented. I know I can sing. I know I can preach. I know I can do all these things. I can speak to people and I can do all these things. But now I'm in a place where I'm trying to help myself and I can't, but I can help everybody else. But yeah, man, so that journey, man, it was it was a lot. But there is a thing called coming out. and there is a
Yes,
thing
sir.
called Exodus, and I'm a better person for it. Now I can recognize um, other things around me now. I can see it. I know what depression look like, so it ain't no fooling me. I know how it is when you want to talk your troubles away, or you want to talk, uh, or reflect or deflect, you know, certain topics of conversation because I've been there, and so
Mike, let me ask you this: how important is it for you to say this, and as a message to other people about getting mental health assistance? Because we have a tendency, especially those from our community, not to seek out mental health. That we think it's a sign of weakness when
yeah.
it's not.
Well,
And your testimony shows what mental health can do to assist a very talented person out of a situation that he found himself in. How important is that?
um, it's so important. Us as the Black community, we are taught that God will work it out. We are taught that if you just pray, it'll be all right. And that is very true.
Yes, it
I
is.
will pray and I will talk to God all day. But also God also gives us outlets. Um, because in the process, after you finish praying, you still have a process that you still have to talk that thing out. You got to get that thing out.
Yes, sir.
And so that's one of our biggest struggles because as the Black community, God gonna fix it. But no, there is help. It's so important to talk, to get a therapist, to talk it out to. Because one thing, here's what I realized. I've had more of my spiritual moments every Thursday with my therapist, Ivory. I have more spiritual moments understanding how confessing the things that are, and confessing ain't always it's not always about your sin. Confession is also the condition that you're in.
Yes, sir.
And so when we learn how to confess the things that are happening to us, now we have the wherewithal and the sight to see when things are about to happen. That's why God says, "In all your ways acknowledge me, and I will direct your path." Right. So
Yes,
in
sir.
that, there are always situations, even in therapy, that God would expose, and you'd be like, "Oh, okay, that's what that is," because why? You're talking it out. You're letting that person know. You're emptying yourself. You know what I'm saying? When you're emptying yourself, you also are being aware of what's going on with you. So, man, therapy, I highly, 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 highly recommend therapy, especially the men. Especially the men. Women, they might got their therapists. They got their girls sometimes. They're going to give them the right or wrong answer. But for men, I'm telling you, it's okay to spill the beans. It's okay to sit on somebody's couch. It's okay. Because if it wasn't for this, I'm telling you from experience, man, I thought I was going crazy at one time.
Right.
I thought I was going crazy. But there are certain exercises and certain things that with mental health and with your therapist, man, it can really help you, man. It can really get you out of certain situations. It can really get you out of falling back.
Mike, how did you feel when you read about former players? I know you know them: Vincent Jackson, Demaryius Thomas, several other players that did not do what you did not get the help that they needed. and they're no longer with us. What was your thoughts when you saw that?
The thoughts was they was afraid to expose themselves. Like you got it as a man, especially a man that has taken care of their families, that done helped a whole lot of people. We look a certain way to people. We look like success. So success can't look weak. We can't look weak. We can't look like we got troubles. We always got to look like we got it together, and that ain't true. We don't always got it. Matter of fact, we are professionals with money that are jacked up. And one thing I realized, money can't get you out of mental health.
Right.
Money can't help you with your troubles. It can put a Band-Aid on, but it can't help you when you really knee deep in some stuff. And so when I hear those stories about Vincent drinking himself to death, that could have been me.
Yes, sir.
That could have been me, man. Listen, I was at Freeman. At one time, I was going through a fifth of Hennessy. I probably go through 2 of them a day.
Wow.
So I understand what that looked like. So, so with that, man, with that being said, it hurts. It hits close to home. But I encourage every man to put on your pride, take it down, and go get some help. Go talk to somebody. Because I don't care if you played football. I don't care what you've done. I don't care what sport you play. I don't care if you played any sports. As a black man in the United States of America, we all need somebody to go talk to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we're in our last few seconds. My brother, Michael Gaines, one of my favorites of all time.
You mind,
man, he's just a great man. And to talk about something this close to you, I want people to know also one of your friends who was a police officer, my memory serves me correctly,
yeah,
was responding to that Orlando shooting.
Norman,
lost his life. And you went through that also, losing someone that close to you under those types of circumstances. But you are a great, great, great brother. And what you shared on this program, on Night Talk with the Mighty Oba, I think is going to help several people. And you are doing God's work as usual, through song, through work, and through example. And knowing that there are times in your life that you, after you get up from the feet of prayer, you seek out help in other areas and also do the work. And you have always done that, brother. I'm so proud of you. And I'm glad, most of all, that I can call you my friend. And I want to thank you. Yes, sir. We're going to talk again, all right?
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you, brother.
I love you, man. Hey,
yes, sir.
Go Buffalo. I'm a Bill fan. Bill Mafia, stand up.
All right, brother.
All right.